so it's now time to start what I hope is going to be the last of the major repairs. Don't know if I mentioned before, but the heater motor, which is hidden under there, doesn't work. I've tried the switch, I've checked the wiring, there's power getting to it. When the engine's running and I turn the switch on, the revs drop slightly, you can hear the load, but the motor doesn't turn, so I'm assuming either the bearing's gone kaput and it used to be very noisy, or the motor's just kaput. So in order to make it easier to do the windscreen repairs, because there's corrosion in here, there's a hole there which needs to be repaired. In order to make it easier to get the other side, to get the windscreen out, I've taken the dash out, as you can see, which wasn't too bad a job. I found several plates of spaghetti of wire, which was actually separate wiring for another stereo and another aerial lead. So I've taken all that out. One thing I do like is tidying up unnecessary wiring and cable tying it all nicely together and so on. So I've got to do the heater there. As a result of the corrosion in the corners, the dash itself, which I'm sure you know or you may not know, is made of metal. This is it here. If you've never seen a dash out, well, that is it. It's round the wrong way at the moment, so this is the windscreen side, so it would actually be like that. There's my dash tidy. The corners are rusting away here, so I'll make a template up of this and a little bit there, and then cut that out, weld in a new bit, and the same this side. This side's slightly worse. This is the passenger side. Excuse me. Same there. So there's a repair there to do, but apart from that, it's in good nick. I'll then mask along there, along that edge down there, and paint it in black smooth right, because it's like I could do it in hammerite actually, because it's got a sort of a hammered vinyl-y kind of paint texture to it, so I could do it in black hammerite and get like a hammered finish, and then it'd blend in a bit more. So that's that job to do there. I've taken the grill out, and the windscreen wipers are off and the washer jets, so I'll be cutting this out with a Stanley knife. Just cut between the rubber between the windscreen and the metal, find the gap there and just cut all the way around, get the windscreen out. And then got to take this off. That's all rotted there, and there's all rot here and so on. So it's okay here. So hopefully when I take this off there won't be any huge nasties in there, and this should be a fairly straightforward job of getting this out, grinding it back to the lip that's in there, and putting the new one in. That's where there used to be a pillar mounted telescopic aerial. Those are the two mountings for it. There's a hole there for the aerial lead, but it's a little bit rough. It's not rusted through or anything, so I'll give it a nice skim of filler, and I can sand that, paint it and mount the new aerial. This is where the existing aerial was, so that needs a little bit of tidying up under there. Just got the duct tape on there to keep any water out. So these are the jobs. So a bit of tidying up, new metal in the corners, and then it'll be new windscreen in, new windscreen rubbers in there, and I've got all these window rubbers to do as well. So to get the heater cover off involves removing these metal clips. I've tried, just as a test, to get a screwdriver just in there to make sure these two are loose, but they changed it at a certain date where they made it glued together, and I'm hoping this isn't one of them, because why would you have clips and glue it together? So hopefully I get the clips out and the whole thing comes apart, but it might not. So here goes. So I finally got the heater casing apart. There's the other half. Can't take it out of the van because it's got all the cables, you know, heater control cables and vent cables and so on there. I had to take out 2 bolts there and undo the screw in there, so I was able to pull out the whole casing very gently to one side, and then that could go out over the top. And the motor was the culprit, because if we take a look at it over here, we can see it's well and truly, it's all had it in there, and that bearing is rusted away. So I think basically what happened is they start making a real noise, squealing like mad, and then they just seize up. So it's been gone for some time, but that should rotate really nicely, but it's really tight, so that should just spin round. So it'll be a new one of them, around about 35 to 40 pounds on eBay. I had to, rather stupidly, there's a screw hidden inside, so I had to, because I'm replacing this panel anyway, I had to cut a hole in the front of the van in order to get to the screw, which fits down in there. Thankfully I got that out, so I shall go and order a heater motor. Okay, so the windscreen's now out. I simply cut round the rubber with a Stanley knife in between the edge of the glass and the window frame, which now enables me to see the extent of the damage. We have here a nice big hole, and this part here up to this lip here, so all that there is the new panel which goes along there. There's a bit of the old tin worm in here, and that hole which I pointed to earlier up in there. So that's going to be a case of cutting out the bad stuff, obviously, and welding in some small patches. This has all got to come off here. This isn't too bad. That. It's a bit rotten in there, so there might be a little bit to do in there. Doesn't seem too bad, but once I get the old wire brush in the angle grinder on that, we'll soon see what's what, because that thing just removes anything. So all that panel has got to come out, and this side not so bad, it's not rotted up here, that's just a bit of silicone. So it's going to be a case of, you can actually see the factory weld there. Yeah, right below there, that's the factory weld. So I'll be doing basically the same. I won't be going for any kind of neatness stuff, because this will be covered by the dash anyway. So I shall be cutting out this bit, and then the new panel comes up here anyway. So the next job, cut off the bonnet section, like so. And there it is, removed. So I've still got this this lip by here, to remove. Here's the excess metal which I left behind, which I shall cut back now that I know what's behind here. I shall cut back to here. This part here looks a little bit more tricky because the actual panel carries on around and includes these brackets, another one there and one there. So the new panel's got these on here, so I'm going to have to I'll probably cut the bracket off along there, and it's then bonded, it's then like spot welded or whatever it is to this, which is a duct for the air. It comes in through a little grill up and in round there, and then comes out into the heater blower box right here. So a bit of tidying up to do now. But looks very scary, but not really. And if, like me, you've ever wondered what's behind this bonnet panel, well, here it is. You have the wiper arm assembly, got the wiper spindle, the wiper linkage, that's the arms there, and then this big mounting which mounts the motor, which is there, which apparently, to repair from the inside, is a bit of a pig. The washer jet pipes, they tee off. It tees off from there and then runs right the way along to this one here. The ends, as they do, they get quite hard and brittle, so it might be a simpler case of just replacing that whole pipe and this one. So now you know, and so do I, what's behind here. Now, to make it easier to remove this bit, this lip along here, I've gone along and scraped away all this sealant along the join. Volkswagen seem to like to cover all the insides of every panels with this gloop. It's like it's a mix between mastic and silicone. It's weird stuff, very strong. But I've scraped it and removed it so I can see the join, and the same over here as well. So I can now cut with confidence, knowing that I'm not going to be cutting into this, which I don't want to be doing, under here. So I'll cut along just on the front edge of it, along there, and then anything left I can grind it with a grinding disc. And the next job is cut that off. Right, so I've cleaned up the all the excess metal left over from the old panel, and as just a quick test fit, I've put the new panel, just sat it in there, and it's sitting in there rather nicely. It needs just the smallest amount of tweaking just to get it to sit flush with the existing bodywork. As you can see, there's a gap down there, and it does pull together, but like I say, it needs to just sit a little bit in a bit further. Same this side, but it's gone in there quite nicely, and the lines line up. Maybe just the panel just needs to go a fraction lower, but it fits in there quite nicely. Very pleased with that. I've marked out this bit here that I'm going to be cutting out, up round there. That's my starter for 10. Probably have to grind back further into more sound metal. So that's my start. And that's the first piece in. Pretty good. I offered the panel back up, and the curvature's carrying on nice. Just a tiny bit of grinding just off there. So I have a lip to weld on all the way along here, like so. This will meet up with that by there. So I have a piece to go in there. Got a little bit to go. Just join those two together, and then the one up there. And the corner is in there. So I got that repair right along there. Not bothered at all by the welds or anything, because this is all going to be covered up by the dash. May have to dress this bit slightly because the dash finishes about there. But right, so this side is now complete. I've got the lip all the way through there, like so. Matches up nice with the panel. These welds in here will need dressing down before priming and painting, and before the window goes in, because this forms part of the window seal right down there. So with the edge of the grinding disc, I'll grind that into a nice curve down there. So next will be the other side. So the repair's in on the other side now. In there. This is just surface. A little wire brush off. Give it some treatment with this new rust treater I've got, which is supposed to be the bee's knees, called Zactan. It's supposed to be the rust treater. That's in there. Here it is with the front panel in. Like I say, that'll all pull together nicely. Get the old mole grips on there. The way I'm going to attach this is I'll drill a series of holes, every 2 inches apart, something like that, all the way along, and then spot weld it with the MIG. Drill a hole just into the panel, and then you just do a little weld, and that's effectively a spot weld. Same on the bottom there. And do that all the way along, and that should be in there nicely. Right, so whilst I'm waiting on the heater motor to turn up, which should be here later today, because I can't put the front panel on until I've got the heater in, because I need to get to that screw that's at the front there. I will get on with the dash. So if you remember, it's corroded along here. I'm going to cut that bit out, and slightly worse here, so that bit will be coming out. So what I'll do this time is, as it's a smaller area, I'll cut this bit out and then use that as a template to cut the new bit. So the first job is to cut out the rusty bit. Okay, this is cut out like so, and then that piece which I've made up goes in there lovely. there'll just be a little bit to cut at an angle to match the angle of that, the opposite angle, because these are the bits that fit around the screws that hold the windscreen wiper spindles in place. So to keep it neat, I'm going to weld it from the inside, so the outside will just have a thin line. There's the new patch welded in, like so. Needs rounding off around there, and that bit just cutting out there. And on the other side, on the underside, if it will show up, there it is there. No real sort of raised welds, only a tiny bit, which is why I did it from the inside. So a tiny little bit of grinding, or I'll linish that smooth with a linishing disc, and then a tiny skimmer filler, and then I can paint it. So now I've got to do the other side. But it's worth pointing out that this damage and the other side, and the damage to the windscreen pillars, and even the damage to the steps and the floor, all that, and the other side, are all caused, or were all caused, by the windscreen rubbers being shot and water getting in. So if your windscreen rubbers are shot, get them changed, because you'll save yourself a whole lot of work. There's the corners repaired. That one there, and that one there. Come out quite well, that. Like I say, just a tiny skim of the old filler, just to fill in those little gaps there. That's all it'll need, I think. It's nice, quite smooth, that. Very good. Alright, so I've put the filler on, sanded it, same on this side, like so, and I've masked off along the front there ready, and now time to slap the paint on. And here is the finished dash. 4 coats of Hammerite Smooth. I've sort of emulated the speckled finish, like the leatherette kind of finish, on the rest of it with the paintbrush. It's not superb, but most of it's going to be buried down at the bottom of the windscreen. So it's a sort of speckled finish like it had before, but in the scheme of things, rather nice, I think. The repairs don't jump out at you, but like I say, it's all going to be hidden out the way anyway, so I'm rather pleased with that. In the scheme of things, from a couple of feet back, you wouldn't even know. So the new heat has turned up, the newer heater blower. As you can see, look at that, turns around easy peasy, lovely. Here's the old one, just super stiff. Yak, lovely. Yak, lovely. Yak. Right, so the new heater fan is in its home, wired up with good old heat shrink as well, with spade connectors. So let's try it out. Success. Right, so tomorrow I've marked out all these holes for the spot welds all the way along and along the bottom there as well. So tomorrow I need to drill out these holes all the way along there, and each of those is a spot weld. The windscreen wiper is mounted back in there. Just before I fit it in place, I'll paint that. I'll just quickly spray that with some Volkswagen pastel white that I've got, and put the washer jets on. I've got these nice chromed twin jet washers to go in there, and then it'll be time to spot weld the front on. This here is pretty good. I need to just smooth it off a bit with a linishing disc in there, and then like I did with the dashboard, a little bit of filler. I'll spread it in there with my finger like so, let it dry, sand it, and then I'll have a nice edge there for the window rubber seal. But that is tomorrow, and that is me today. All the holes are drilled all the way along there, like so, and same under there, wherever we are. Where are we? Ah, there we are. Right the way along. Can't really see him. Oh, you can.
Decided Sam would rather have a hay, you know, he doesn't like it. Oh, sorry.
Well, that's the top half spot welded in place along there. Quite an effective way of doing it, that. Just make sure you start off in the centre of the hole, welding the metal at the back, and you leave it for like a second, and then swirl round and round to fill the hole in. Slightly raised, so I'll just go along with a linishing disc just to smooth that down afterwards, because this is one of the mating faces for the windowsill. And then where I've put the new bit of metal in, I'll go along and grind that down level with the edge of this new panel here, so I've got a nice clean edge for the new seal to sit on. I've just quickly stuck a bit of paint around there, but I'll be masking around there when it comes to painting time. These are the stainless steel washer jets here. Twin jets come out the top there, and adjustable with a screwdriver in the side. No farting about with a little pin or anything like that. So the next thing I'll be doing is the bottom half in there. Right, the panel is now in. I've given it a quick blow over along the it's so bright it affects the exposure on the camera. I've given it a blow over in there with a couple of coats of Volkswagen pastel white, like so. In that corner there I filled and rubbed it down, and it's quite a nice smooth sealed edge there, all sealed up there. all these areas need attention, but that can all be done after the windscreen rubber's in, which will be the next job. It is now ready to put the windscreen back in. It's gone very nicely, that. Very happy with that indeed. Right, it's coming up to, or near to, windscreen refitting time, but before I can fit it I need to clean it up. One little job that's always been in the back of my mind is there's this old sun strip on there, and it's sort of gone off, it's changed its properties, it's turned into a horrible kind of sticky powdery sort of thing. So I found that it comes off quite easily. Doesn't take too long. One of these like oven scrapers with a Stanley blade in it, and as long as you keep the angle fairly low you won't scratch the glass, and you can just scratch away on it just like half an inch at a time, like so, just very slightly weighting the right hand side of it, just very slightly, and it comes off. It's almost like glitter, but great relief that that's coming off quite nicely. Alright, so the glass is cleaned up and I've got the seal on, which is no easy job, I can tell you. They're as tough as old boots to get on, especially when you get to the last corner as well. Really got to stretch it, but it's on there. Just got some masking tape on there to keep it in place, don't want that coming off. And also, to get ready for fitting it, I've cleaned up the window channel and blown over it with a couple of coats of the old pastel white. I've also removed the seal there which covers the join on the hardtop. Took that off and shoveled out, raked out loads of old sealant and gunk that was in there, and I've resealed that with tons of PU sealant and cleaned up the strip and put that back on. So it is now ready for the glass to go back in. I've got my string in. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the old string method. You run your string around the inside of the seal there, put the glass in, and then your assistant pushes on the outside of the window as you pull the string, and it pulls the lip over the edge of the metal lip, and in it goes. Well, that's the theory, because, keep this between you and me, I've never ever changed a window before. So here goes. And hallelujah, the new windscreen is in. The new window rubber. It's in. Took 3 attempts, because like I said, I haven't done it before, didn't know what I was doing. So I tried putting it in at the bottom and pulling it down, making sure it was all in there, and then running the string round. But you get so far up and the top is way too high, won't go in. So I eventually figured out that you've got to basically sit the glass in the opening and sort of push it all the way around, so it's going in flat like that, and then when you start doing it, it'll all be at the right height. But it's in there, sealed up lovely. No gaps. No gaps anywhere. That's a great relief, because this job had been on my mind for ages. But it's there. Thank heavens for that. Right, so I'm going to give this under here a quick spring clean, and then I'm going to put the dashboard back in. And when that's done, the body is then going to be ready for prepping for paint. Because that is all of the major body repairs finished. Yes, you heard me correctly. The body repairs are finished. Yeah! Right, I've put the dash back in and the instruments, and reconnected up the heater panel and all that in there, like so. And the steering wheel's bolted back in place. So there's a few jobs left there to finish up, and obviously give the interior a good clean. But for now, I'm going to get on with the side windows. I was so pleased with the way the windscreen went. I was going to work on one section at a time, tidy up and flat the whole van, and then just paint a section at a time. Change the window rubbers, and then paint a section, and then do the next, and so on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the window rubbers on all the side windows first. So the first thing I'm doing is I've got to take out the sealing, the trim strip, which is what expands the window rubber. And as you can see, it's basically past its best. This is all of it here. It should be in one piece, but it's in a right mess. So I'm going to get this window out first, and then I'll clean the glass, do any tidying up of the window frame itself, and then rust treat and prime and paint the immediate area, and then put the window back in. Alright, so the windscreen is in, all cleaned up, new rubber, all in there, nice new window rubber compared to the old ones, which were just horrendous. These are lovely. But I tell you, compared to these, doing the windscreen was an absolute breeze. These are so difficult, so fiddly. You have to put the rubber in the opening first, and then you have to stick the glass in at one end, and you've got to basically, very carefully, go around. And this side's done as well. So the next one will be the sliding door. As you can see, yuck. As I was taking the old trim strip out, water came pouring out of here, so it's been a water trap as well. Luckily the opening looks very sound all round. So I'm going to get on, put this window in this side, and then I've got just the one to do on the other side through there, and then I'll be able to start the prepping for paint. So I've got myself a nice DeWalt random orbital sander, which should make light work of most of the body work. I've got things to grind down, like that repair patch there, and the ones in the doors, on the door sills, all round. It's a nice bit of sanding and filling to do. But I'll leave it there, and in the next video I'll be doing the prepping for paint and the painting.
I'll see you next time.